Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Andrew. Today we're going to be having a little bit of fun jumping back into Try Hack Me for the Wgel CTF. This is going to be a fun, quick user root and then our user and root flag challenge that we're going to hopefully get in and have a kind of fun time with this fun, easy box. Now, this says it's going to take us about 45 minutes. I'm going to take a wild swing and say this will likely probably take us anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. One, because as you start to do more of these CTFs, first off, you can kind of start learning where the flags are going to be hidden, and you can kind of start building a good repository of certain scripts you want to run and processes you're going to do to start kind of investigating into these challenges and boxes. So as you can see, I'm running out of the attack box so that Try Hack Me has that you can easily quickly spin up that splits your screen. You can also do this through a virtual machine if you'd like as well. I feel and I just enjoy this more. I think it's a little bit faster to quickly get into here. So, and you can see here's our target IP. So let's go ahead and get started. So we can see that we already have our attack box open, and we can quickly just go into our command terminal in here. Don't need two, I can just do one. And let's go ahead and just run a good old nmap scan. Tech SC, Tech SV. Let's go for ports 1 through 1000, and our IP address is going to be 10.10.98.119. The awesome thing I really enjoy about this recently that I've realized is they now have their little echo command here that will also cheer you on as you are going through this challenge. So, and that's a fun little thing right down here as my camera's hiding it. In the bottom right or bottom left corner, I have my little echo. I'll move him up a little bit so you guys can see him. And it tells you like, hey, good job. You successfully scanned the box. And I think that's so fun and cool, which was just kind of neat in a piece of it. But yeah, let's keep me kind of moving along as we kind of get through this box. So cool. It looks like we see two ports open. We see that we have a port 22, which is SSH, and port 80. So since we have port 80, that means it looks like we have a website we can navigate to. It works. Page, Apache to Ubuntu page. It works. So awesome. Let's go here and jump onto this page and see what we can find. So we'll open up inside the attack box, the WebFox browser. We'll go here to the top corner, or this top piece. We're going to clear out our IP address and go 10.10.98.119 for my box. And, all right, so it looks like we have a default kind of Ubuntu page. Is there anything on here really that's beneficial? Documented roots. So not too much. Let's right click and let's just go ahead and do view page source and see if there's anything found inside of our page source that we can find. So I see just some basic Debian. Let's see, scrolling down, see font sizes and background colors. This is the welcome page, configuration layout, but wait a minute, what's this? Jesse, don't forget to update the website. And Jesse is Jessie. Well, that's beneficial. And what that tells us is maybe Jesse is a user that we should keep in mind, because maybe we can leverage Jesse's credentials, if we find any credentials, to get onto the site. Now, since we know we have a port 80 open and we have a website we can go to, I'm going to go ahead, and the tool I like to use is GoBuster. And I have my pre-made script here that I have inside my little Try Hack Me case notes for my basic scripts. And we're going to go ahead and just run this. And we're going to do the common word list for dir, dirbuster, hit the enter button on this. And we can see we have HT password, HT access, index.html, server status. And we have another one that has a 301. As you can see, these status codes too, the 403, so those won't connect to anything. We have our index.html, which is a 200, so that will connect us to something. But then we have this status 301 for sitemap. Well, let's pivot here. We throw in sitemap, and sitemap takes us to an additional page on the site. So the site page has that 301 code. That means that we can successfully go to this site. Now that we're here, though, I mean, let's kind of click around. And I mean, I know this because I've gone through this room a little bit today, as I thought this would be a fun one to share with everybody. But the room's pretty empty. There's nothing really in here clicking around that kind of shows or gives us anything kind of beneficial that would show us or kind of point to anything particular. But now that we know that we have this additional page, let's go one step deeper on our GoBuster command, and let's check out the sitemap page. So what we can do is you go ahead and hit the up arrow. That's going to bring up our last command on GoBuster. And if you simply just go here to the end of our command, and we're going to type in that /sitemap, that's going to now do a further directory search on the sitemap page. So let's go ahead and hit enter. So we see fonts, images, index.html, but we also see a SSH. So interesting. Let's see what this SSH is going to take us to on that browser. So we can simply just back out of this real quick, go .ssh, pivot to here, and would you look at that? It looks like we found an ID RSA, which is a private key. So look at that. So what this means is by us gaining access to this is going to allow us to gain unauthorized access to the SSH server if it is configured to accept connections using this key. Now, if you can remember on our earlier findings, we did find a name called Jesse, which was on the first site when we went to the source page. So keeping that in mind, this is where the analytical mindset and kind of doing more and more of CTFs is going to start kind of connecting of like, oh, this is probably the next thing I need to do. So, well, first off, let's go ahead. As you can see, I highlighted and I'm going to copy over and copy the entirety of beginning of the RSA private key to the very end, including the dashes. I'm going to highlight that and copy it. We are going to open up Nano. I'm going to drop that in. We are going to save it. Yes, I'm going to call this just ID_RSA. And perfect. We now have that saved. Now, before going any further, though, we need to make sure we're setting the permissions for this to a 600. And that's just good security practice. So when we set these permissions on the file to 600, what we are doing is we're making it readable and writable only by the file's owner while denying access to any other users or groups. This is particularly important for sensitive files, specifically such like SSH keys. So the way we're going to do that, we can go chmod sudo chmod 600. Oh, it's not going to let me sudo it. So let's see if we can do it with chmod. Okay, perfect. All right, perfect. Now, with that all being done now, what we should be able to do is SSH back into that port. So we know port 22 is open. So port 22 is our SSH port. So we're going to do sudo SSH tac-i RDRSA. We're going to use Jesse's name that we pulled from our initial investigation, and we're going to put our target IP is where we're trying to get to. So for me, that is 10.10.98.119. And if this worked, this should create us a connection in SSH into the machine. So let's see. Yes, we do. All right. See, if you can see there in the green text, it looks like Jesse Corp 1. Who am I? We are Jesse. So perfect. It looks like we successfully have gotten onto our box. Now, as always, we're doing some just kind of quick little commands to kind of figure out who we are. So dropped obviously like a who am I, and we are Jesse. Dropped in a dir, so wanting to see any of the directories we have access to, we can see. PWD, so I can kind of see where I'm at. And let's just do a ls stack la, see any hidden files, see if there's anything that's initially going to jump out to us. And nothing so far. But now that we're in, let's find our first flag, which is our user flag. And we can do that by simply doing a find /tac name. We are going to then do a parentheses wildcard for flag.txt and hit the enter button. Where did we mess up? Let's see. Oh, gosh dang it. Oh, never mind. It was working. Slight delay. I forget you can't tap. You can't go up in the air with this. So let's do this one more time. Find /name wildcard flag.text enter. Okay, there we go. Our very last one here, we see that under the home Jesse documents user underscore flag text. So let's do a CD for change directory and head into documents. We can tab to autocomplete. If we do an ls, we can see there's our user flag. So do an ls, or I'm sorry, do a cat, and we can just type in us for user and type tab complete. And boom, there is our first flag for this challenge. We can grab that in right here, see if this works. And whoop, whoop, our answer is correct. So fantastic. Congratulations, everybody. We got our first flag. Well, now that we've gotten our user flag, it is now time to get our root flag. Now, most folks, initially, when it comes into this next piece of things, the best way to kind of see what it takes in order to get or what our user can actually run is running the sudo tac-l. And this command is to list the permissions that our current user has with the sudo command. Now, let's see when we run this, what we see. And as we can see, our user Jesse is allowed to run any command as any user on the system, and can also run this by the user bin wget command without entering a password. Now, this means we can get our root flag without a password. So the next thing that you can do in order to find this exploit is by going to GTFO bins. So open GTFO bins. You can reject all or accept all. We would go here. We can go to wget. And from here, we would go into our next kind of research on figuring out which exploit we're specifically going to be using in order to execute to get our flag command. Now, I've done my homework, and so I know what we're having to go to next. So the next thing we'll be doing is opening up another terminal. And with this terminal, we're going to go ahead and create a netcat listening on port 334 is the one I'm going to be doing. So nc tac lvp. Now, the L stands for option tells netcat to listen for any incoming connections. The V stands for verbose, and this makes netcat display a little bit more information about the connection. And the P is going to be directing this to port 3344 is the port we're going to be doing that we'll be listening for. We're going to hit enter, and what we should be seeing is that listening on, and that means we are good. We are listening for that on that port, and we can now minimize that right there. Now, the next piece of what we're going to be doing here, and this, as I mentioned before, that I have pulled my notes and I got my notes going in for this challenge to kind of walk you through this to make it a little bit faster rather than sitting on with you guys for a full 40 minutes, is we're going to go right in here. This IP address we're changing this to is actually our target IP, so 10.10.98. 10.10.119. And let me kind of walk you through real quick what we're kind of going through on this entire path. So first off, we're doing sudo, which means this command is being executed as our super user privilege. The user bin wget specifies location on the wget command, where this tool for any non-interactive downloading files from the web. The post file root flag text is the option that's telling wget to send the contents of the root flag text file to the body of an HTTP post request. Now, as you do more and more of these capture the flag challenges, whether that's in Hack the Box, Meta, Try Hack Me, usually, and I say this usually, air quotes, is our root flag is going to be saved under a root text or root flag.txt or any type of kind of naming convention that. So as we now continue on here, we're going to go with this command right here. We have our HTTP connection for 10.10.98.119, and we're pointing that to port 3344. So what's going to happen is when I hit enter on this command, that's going to make that request. And then what we should see populate down here below is our flag challenge for our root flag. So let's go here to the end, and I'm going to hit enter. And we failed. Why did we fail? 10.10.98.119, 10.10.1189, 3344, 3344. Let's see. Challenges. Where did we go wrong? Oh my goodness, I'm such an idiot. Okay, there we go. So reference our HTTP IP address. The IP address we're using, and I know I make this mistake a few different times. The IP address we're using is our the attack box IP. Now, thinking about why and how I explained it previously was obviously incorrect, because what's happening is where we're wanting to send the file to is to where our listener is listening for that connection. So that's why we're sending that HTTP IP address, not to 10.10.98. We're sending it to 10.10.140 because that's where we actually want that command to come through. So, and as we can look down here, after we ran it and changed our IP address, obviously, and once again, this can be a common mistake, but we can see that we have a bunch of numbers and letters here. So let's grab this real fast. And if I was a betting man, we're going to drop this right into here. We are going to hit submit. And we have it. Whoop, whoop. We have completed the Wgel CTF. So, hey, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. This was a fun, quick little video just to jump in and knock out one of these easy rooms. This is definitely noob approved. And as always, we'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks.